Okay, every scene has a club that you aspire to play, someplace where, you've made it once you've played there. What club was it for you?
Well, it's interesting because I started on the college market. Even on the college market, I was opening for my own band. Okay, that's a weird thing to do. But I would start every gig when I was touring with a band. I would come out and play solo guitar for a while. Or maybe, in some situations, it would be in the middle. I'd let the band take a break and I would put it in the middle. But more often than not, I was in colleges and performing art centers, outdoor festivals and bars. But I still remember, like playing at Auburn University for the first time, or, just to be so far from home and to be at a major university. I did, hundreds and hundreds of them. I can't even keep it straight. But for clubs, I would play clubs around the Twin Cities occasionally, but more often than not, I would be like doing a Cities 97 event opening for Sean Colvin at St. Anthony, Maine, when there was a big outdoor area. I would try to take those gigs. We didn't really fit, Willie. That's the thing. I really never fit the bar scene. So to play at the Guthrie for the first time, that was, wow.
Yeah, that's an important theater nationally, and they had a terrific music series.
Monday evenings, yep. And to release a record and do my CD release at the Guthrie was that was a thrill. I still remember.
It was in the round too, right? Or a
had
semi-proscenium.
Yeah, very in the round kind of an experience. But playing the Bottom Line in New York City. There you go. There's a great one. Toads up in Connecticut, just up the road. The Handlebar in South Carolina or North Carolina. I can't remember. The theater, some of the theaters in some of the other parts of the country, the Sanger Theater in Mobile is super renowned in that part of the world. Gosh, there's too many even to mention, right. But you have to feel lucky. There's almost a gestalt to the whole thing, I played them all, but I kind of have at one time or another.
I remember in 91, 92, 93, I was chairman of the Minnesota Music Academy, which was the academy that oversaw the voting for the Minnesota Music Awards.
Oh, you were ambitious. That's a big job, man.
Yeah, it was enormous and all volunteer. And I remember we booked you. There was a guitarist on our board, and I cannot remember his name. He was an old folkie, and he was a huge fan of yours. And he said, we really need to get Billy on this year's award show. You played, it was 91, 2, or 3, somewhere in there, and you played the main room at First Avenue.
One of the only times I ever was invited to do anything there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Do you remember that gig?
I do. I do remember it. And what I remember about a lot of the club gigs is that to get an acoustic guitar turned up loud enough to be as loud as the band that just got done bashing away with drums and super loud monitors and stuff, that's where what I do put me at a disadvantage. And I worked really hard to try to figure out how to get my guitar to be as loud as possible. I still remember at the very, very first Basilica block party ever, Billy McLaughlin played the first notes. And I'll tell you why I know that. It's because I was on the stage in the front of the actual Basilica. And you remember the big stage, where Widespread Panic would play in the back parking lot. I was on the small stage out front. And they had a problem with security. And they weren't letting anybody in yet. So the band out in the back that was supposed to start at the same time as me, they're like, well, we're not going to start till they let people in, which is smart. Whoever was stage managing for my stage said, you got to start right now. Contract says 5:30. It's 5:30, start playing. So we're playing, and they still weren't letting anyone in. That's how I can claim the ownership of that. But to the point about turning up your guitar, playing outdoors, sometimes you can get a little more volume because you don't have the standing waves from the building, from the room that you're in.
Yep.
But I still remember starting off that Basilica block party show, trying to get my guitar as loud as I could because we were outside with the freeways going by.
Yeah.
And Not long after us, Polera came up, and Ed
Loud.
with the two AC-30s. So there's a point to that story, right? We're talking the AC-30s were like, vibrating all on their own. He had it turned up all the freaking way, and it was amazing sounding. And that's a way to reach a large outdoor setting. You can always win if you have a Stratocaster and a couple of Fender Twins or a couple of AC-30s cranked up. If your music is deliverable like that, my music has always had a nuance to the delivery point, which is why I always tried to play theaters, acoustic venues, and it didn't always help my commercial viability. Let's just put it that way. Because I played a lot of outdoor festivals, and they were always somehow problematic. They continued to be problematic even when I figured out how to do it correctly. It meant that I had to bring some of my own gear on stage. And most of the stage managers were like, "You're an acoustic guy. What are you doing bringing stuff?" And I go, "Well, Eric Johnson just played and he had 5 amps. Why didn't you give him a bunch of crap?"